Okay, welcome. You're here because you want to cut through the noise, get to the heart of things quickly. So let's do that. There's this huge question flying around education circles right now. Can AI, artificial intelligence, actually teach better than a human?
It's a headline grabber for sure.
Definitely. But maybe the more useful question, the one we're really digging into today, is more like, what role should AI play?
Exactly.
Is it just support? Could it replace teachers someday? Or maybe can it enhance things in a totally new way?
That reframing is, I think, crucial. We're not aiming for a simple yes or no answer here.
Right.
It's more about understanding how these different kinds of intelligence, the artificial and the human, might work together, or maybe conflict. For this deep dive, we looked at excerpts from a podcast episode. It was called Future Class. Can AI really teach better than a human?
Okay.
And it had some really interesting points about what AI is doing right now and where we might be going. So our mission really is to pull out the core ideas, the real implications for education based on what they discussed.
All right, let's unpack that first part then. What's AI actually doing in classrooms or, for learning today? What really jumped out at me from the source was that this isn't future talk anymore.
Hmm.
AI is genuinely here doing some pretty impressive things like ChatGPT. We've all heard of it.
Right.
It can answer student questions, spit out essay drafts, create quizzes on the fly.
And the tutoring aspect, too.
Yeah, explaining math problems step by step, simulating conversations. It's like a tireless study buddy sometimes.
And it's not just ChatGPT. The source highlighted specific platforms, Conmigo, Sora, Duolingo Max. These are built for education.
Really focus on personalized learning.
Exactly. And that personalization is, well, it's on another level. It's not just letting kids work at their own speed.
How so?
Well, these AI platforms can adapt the content itself, the type of feedback, how hard the questions are, all in real time based on how that specific student is doing. Think about a teacher trying to do that for, say, 30 different kids simultaneously. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, you just can't scale that kind of individual attention manually.
No.
And the source mentioned benefits: students learning faster, teachers saving time.
That's what was reported.
Yeah.
Some students apparently grasp concepts more quickly this way. And teachers, yeah, they mentioned getting back hours they used to spend on, like, lesson prep and grading.
And schools are actually using this. It's not just experimental.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
The source talked about school districts actively trying out AI for planning lessons, generating tests, even helping design the curriculum itself.
So if we circle back to that initial question,
Hmm.
can AI teach better?
Well, based on this, the source suggests that yes, in certain specific areas, like maybe delivering factual content or providing personalized drills,
Mm-hmm.
AI can teach some things more efficiently or maybe more adaptively than a human practically can alone.
Okay, efficiency, personalization.
Yeah.
But that's not the whole story, is it?
Not at all.
Oh.
This is where that critical distinction comes in.
Yeah.
This is what the source really dug into.
Right, because teaching isn't just, data transfer. The podcast really emphasized the human side, building actual relationships with students. Noticing that tiny frown that says, "I'm lost," even if the student doesn't say anything.
Things an algorithm just doesn't pick up on, at least not yet.
And think about how a great teacher adapts. Their tone, their body language, how fast or slow they go, it's based on connection, not just code.
And the power of storytelling, making things relatable, inspiring kids, mentoring them beyond just the subject matter. That's uniquely human.
Software can't really replicate a mentor figure, can it?
Not in the same way. And the source also brought up the classroom as a community.
Yes. It's where kids learn how to deal with each other, see different points of view, build empathy. It's like social and ethical training, too.
Absolutely. A vital training ground. And when students struggling, really struggling, maybe with something outside of school, it's the human teacher who offers that empathy, that creative support.
So the key takeaway from the source there was AI teaches content, humans teach people.
That sums it up beautifully, I think. It captures that irreplaceable core of what human educators do.
Which leads us away from this idea of AI versus humans.
Exactly. It shifts the conversation towards collaboration.
Right. So the better question isn't who wins. It's how can AI help teachers? How can it, free them up?
Free them up to do more of that human stuff, the connecting, the mentoring, the inspiring.
Did the source give examples of what that collaboration looks like?
It did. Picture students getting stuck on a homework problem late at night. Instead of waiting, they get instant help from an AI tutor.
Okay, reducing frustration.
Or a teacher needing to adapt a reading passage for 5 different reading levels in her class. AI could potentially do that tailoring almost instantly.
Wow, okay. That saves huge amounts of time.
Huge amounts. And then there were these ideas about simulations, using AI to run, say, a mock courtroom trial or simulate managing a historical city or pitching a business idea.
So students practice real-world skills communication, teamwork in a safe space.
Exactly. Practicing collaboration with the AI as a tool, or even as part of the simulation.
So AI becomes like a co-teacher,
Yeah.
a study buddy, maybe even a creative partner.
Potentially all of those things. But, and this was a big but in the source, it really depends on how we integrate these tools. It has to be thoughtful. It can't just be about replacing things wholesale.
Which means we also need to talk about the downsides, the risks. The source didn't shy away from those, did it?
No, it definitely didn't. And it's crucial we look at those. One major concern is bias.
How so?
Well, AI learns from data. If the data it's trained on contains biases, racial, gender, socioeconomic, company, the AI can end up perpetuating, even amplifying harmful stereotypes in its responses or how it assesses students.
That's worrying. What else?
Over-reliance. If students just turn to AI for every answer, every piece of writing,
Yeah.
does that weaken their own critical thinking, their ability to struggle through a problem, which is often where deep learning happens?
Yeah, the struggle is important.
Definitely. Then there's privacy. These platforms track huge amounts of student interaction data. Who owns that data? How is it stored? Could it be sold or used inappropriately? Big questions there.
Huge questions, and ethically.
The source raised a fundamental ethical danger, letting the technology decide what's educationally valuable, what skills matter, what knowledge is prioritized. Should AI be making those calls?
It feels like that should remain a human decision, grounded in our values.
You'd think so. There's a risk of reducing learning to just transactions. Input-output, getting the right answer quickly, rather than genuine understanding and development.
So the challenge isn't just technical, it's really deeply ethical. It goes back to that question of what AI should do.
And who gets to decide that?
Okay, so weighing the potential against the risks. What's the overall vision the source presented? Where does this all lead?
It leaned towards a hybrid future, one that's still fundamentally human-centered.
Meaning technology is there, it's integrated, but it doesn't take over.
Right. Teachers remain central. AI is there to personalize the learning journey, maybe handle some of the routine stuff.
And students.
A big focus was on teaching students to use AI responsibly, not just as a shortcut, but as a tool for deeper thinking, for creativity, for better collaboration.
So using AI to enhance human skills, not replace them.
Exactly. And the vision also extends learning beyond the classroom walls, making knowledge and tools more accessible to everyone, everywhere.
It sounds like the ultimate goal, as the source put it, is still about shaping the world with wisdom, empathy, purpose, not just knowing facts.
Beautifully said in the source, yes. Education is a force for shaping a better future.
Okay, so let's loop all the way back. That first question. Can AI teach better than a human?
Well, the nuanced answer emerging from the source seems to be maybe in very specific, narrow ways related to content delivery or skill practice.
What?
But the core of education, the transformative part, that still needs human connection, human guidance, support, that belief a teacher has in a student. That's not something AI as we know it can offer.
So the key takeaway then, the best future isn't purely tech-driven.
No. The source suggests the best classrooms will be powered by relationships, supported by tools,
Right.
and ultimately driven by our values about what really matters in learning and growth.
Relationships, tools, and values. Okay. Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on, something building on all this. As we bring AI more and more into education, what are the fundamental values that absolutely must guide those decisions? What principles do we need to keep front and center to make sure the future of learning stays truly human-centered and ethical? Something to think about.